You want to hit us up with the first intro?
I would love to. All right, ladies and gentlemen, in the bottom left-hand corner, the red Protoss player representing, I forget, but
France.
It is DnS.
I just go with the country if I forget. He's from France.
He's from France. I didn't know if he was. I don't know what tarte is.
It's a French word. But his opponent to the top right, of course, the Korean god himself. It is the Blue Zerg Solar. Now,
yeah, this should be awesome.
I think it will be, but let's go over formats really quick because some people will not be familiar with what we're doing. Base Trade TV is a pretty exclusive veto system. I'm not sure if you've heard of this or not, Tempo, but we have the you veto. So
okay.
This map
Elaborate.
it was vetoed down to one map, right? So we start on Ice and Chrome. It is going to be loser's pick for map selection going forward, but each player has one you veto they can use at any point in the series to smack down the pick of the other players. So maybe let's hypothesize and say, hypothesize and assume Solar loses game 1 and he wants to play on Eternal Empire for game 2. DnS can say no, and that map's out of the map pool after Solar's picked it.
Oh,
but only once and only one time in the series.
All right, I like that. I think that's pretty cool. Does he say F you?
Well, I mean,
I don't have the beep.
Wait, you could swear. I do it for comic effect. I don't fucking care about the broadcast. There's no worry about monetization because we don't make money on YouTube anyways.
I can do a beep too. Beep. Like, I can do it.
Skirt.
Oh.
Oh no. Okay, so Temp0 joining us. Of course, I want to give him an extra big shout out because he's making the extra effort here. He's on vacation and he hauled his stuff over to the Virgin Islands. And if you want to see some sweet pictures, check out his Twitter sometime. But guys and girls, you may know him for many things like When I'm Grandmaster. And if you guys have ever enjoyed and supported Temp0 in the past, you should super definitely do it now. I love that Twitch is giving you some love, by the way. I seen you on that front page, my friend.
I feel blessed, man. It's been really awesome.
You know, in the current environment, everyone's trying to push their favorite black creators, and I'm like Temp0, 100%. Not even a second doubt in my mind. Not another name comes to mind. It's all about Temp0 for me, man.
My man.
Well,
yeah,
DnS...
the beginning of this game is very similar to almost every PvZ that you would see, except for the fact that Solar did take his natural at his third location because of the pro block. But
yeah, I like that he just kind of skips ahead. He doesn't waste time in the natural base playing around with his probe. DnS is also one of these guys who's been very active and annoying with his probe. He'll poke at the minerals. He'll stick around longer than he should. It's very, I gotta imagine it's very irritating playing against DnS as a Zerg player.
Yeah, you don't want to deal with it, right? And you just take that base. You're gonna take the third base anyway, so a lot of the times you'll see Zerg players just go for the third. And sometimes Protoss players will actually be annoying with that probe and go to the third and do the same thing. So it depends how annoying you decide to be.
I really like too, by the way, DnS, for those who don't know a little bit of context here, he's actually won several big tournaments on the channel, you know, with the Ting Opens, and he's placed highly in BTSLs and other things. He's not a frequent player of all of our events, but when DnS comes out to play, he usually brings his best game. And I think if there's one player in this bracket, I mean, there's obviously with Clem in future, every matchup possible would have been amazing. I think DnS and Solar is a really good match for each other.
I think so too, right? Because Solar, I mean, he's actually really, really good, right? And DnS, I don't think gets as much love as far as, you know, a name, because he plays in quite a few things. But
well, Solar plays in everything though, right?
That's what I mean.
He sticks out because he's always in the semifinals. He's always in the finals.
And he's like that Korean that usually has the interviews that people remember because his English is so good. So
you know, it's great. I've talked to Solar about this many times. Do you know how he learned English?
Watching like TV, right?
Yeah, just
like
watching
MSP.
TV. Exactly. He's got the best thing. You've got people like MC and MMA and others who have taken English classes. Tasia, who studies English, and Solar's still the best just because he watched a bunch of fucking TV.
He watched Jersey Shore and was like, all right, I got this.
Well, we have double oracles heading across the map. This is gonna be that one tap on the drones. Super annoying to deal with.
Yeah, 4 problem is not complete, but there are 4 queens here, so.
But these poor queens, they lost 1 range in the patch, and that oracle probably would have died on the old version of the game.
Yeah, look at how low it is, guys. I believe these oracles wanted to get a bit more done. They will get a few drones, but not probably what he wanted to get done. I think he wanted to get a bit more.
Unfortunately, too, Solar tried to go for a counterattack, but with the Adepts well placed between that pylon, he's not finding the opportunity.
And I mean, that's like a response that some Zergs will do. Like, instead of droning up and trying to deal with whatever damage they'll take, they make Lings in order to try to cancel that third base or at least delay it. But DNS is really, really smart here with the 5 Adepts. Beautifully done.
Hey, bitch.
I believe we should be in a pretty decent spot here for both players. Very even.
I am now aware that my alerts aren't going to work while I'm dual casting. Have you seen what my newest alerts are, by the way?
Not the newest ones.
So,
I don't know how recent.
Anytime someone subs, it is a variation of one of our friends or commentators in the scene telling me to shut up and cast the game. And with you here actually casting the game, it doesn't work as good. My favorite's probably Artosis, because I got Artosis to do a voice clip. He sounds very stern. He's like, Rifkin, cast the game. So I'm just gonna apologize in advance, guys. That's at some point it's gonna bleed over Tempo and I can't do anything about it. I don't want to turn off alerts.
Yeah, it's all in fun. It's all in good fun.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing about these 2 Oracles though is that as long as he keeps them alive, they're gonna be able to continue to just get little bits of damage done. Revelation is gonna be great.
How do you feel about the new Revelation?
I don't know actually. It's shorter. But
yeah, it's shorter, it's cheaper, but it does have that cooldown. I feel like for late game, it's probably better, but for early game scouting, you can't just like set it and forget it like you could before.
I think it's better. I am a big fan and advocate of active, active abilities, right? Not set it and forget it.
I agree. I like this too, but okay, these oracles can actually roast up this entire army of solar. He realizes there's too many immortals, there's the oracles. He's just going to withdraw entirely. And that's probably the best move he can make right now. Because any kind of commitment's not going to get the damage done to make this worthwhile.
No, it won't. But look at this. This is very interesting that Solar decided to go for the Spire. Even though it was a Stargate opener, he decided to go right into Spire. And I believe that DNS knows because there is a Phoenix in production. Yeah. And he's making Archons as well. So his main goal is going to be to try to defend his mineral line and then take advantage of the vulnerability that Solar is going to be
research has concluded.
At least having here.
He scouted the Spire too, by the way.
Yes.
So
Solar's doing everything. Look. He's trying to just delay this as much as he can.
Right, and then Lings go for the counterattack to buy some time, but DNS is on top of this. He's in the wall. Although he does leave the wall, makes me a little worried. Goes for the pylon block to make sure the Lings don't get in. Oh, but just in time.
Perfect.
Okay, this gives him the freedom to attack. Yep, we got sentries going forward, force fields going down, Ravagers break, except force fields. Aren't these zealots going to be enough? They're stuck. They can't quite get to the army quite the way he wants them to. But Archons, Immortals, it's the big damage tempo.
It really is, and the Queen's even coming down. One of them does fall. The Archons are pushing on through. And remember, a lot of Solar's army is those mutants, but oh my god, the Lings broke through.
Yeah, fully compromised on the other side of the map. We're both players up shit creek without a paddle right now, frankly. One Phoenix desperately kites.
Solar had 170 supply before this too, so the fact that DNS is pushing through with the 2 Immortals still alive, is there a Warp Prism?
Yeah.
I don't know if there is.
It's way back here, so it's really impressive. He's not doing a bunch of juggling and crazy tactics. This is just like brute force working out. This Immortal has 14 kills on it. These are gonna die. He needs to get that Warp Prism over there.
No, it's not Zealot. What is he doing?
Oh, he's distracted. He's at home. He's focused on the mutas. I can't blame him, but he loses his front line doing this. Oh, he recalls. He recalls. He's a genius. He saves him to the third base while this goes on. But what's crazy about this is both players just took some pretty big damage. They come out of it. Look at the numbers. It's almost dead even.
It really is, and that's because of the fact that usually when mutas come out, it's it spirals one way or the other, and especially when there's an attack like that, usually the player that went muta will die because it's the timing of the mutas. They're supposed to delay the attack that was just happening, but Solar defended, which is great. DNS,
he got
some good damage done, but he did not kill any bases.
This is a really good catch down here.
That's pretty pesky unit right there, that Warp Prism.
In terms of income, just take a quick peek at the graph. It's very clear Solar's dominating there for the time being, but this is not a 2-base all-in situation for DNS. He's on 3 bases. He's got a pretty good setup. These Ravagers are going to be a little scary, but between the Phoenix crowd controlling them and the Archons, I think DNS should be able to hold, but he's outnumbered. He's really outnumbered going into this.
Yeah, almost double in army supply here for Solar. And the bigger issue that I see is that since DNS did not kill a base, he feels like
shield batteries. There's no shield batteries anywhere.
There's none. Yeah, this is an issue because the Oracles, they are running out of energy, but I just think this might be a little bit too much. But that's a lot of Archons, Rifkin.
Yeah, but 20 probes are done. He's not dealing with the mutas. so the natural base gets compromised, and even if he wins the fight, he might just end up losing the war due to this. But the reason I comment on the shield battery, of course, is the new overcharge ability is super powerful. Not having that for the defense seems like a big mistake.
Yeah, and I think he's going to feel this right now as he loses 22 points to the mutants. And now the mutants can even come through the fight if they really wanted to. There's only 3 Phoenixes here.
Yeah, he just finished killing all the mutants. It's tough. DnS is barely going to lose this. Like, he is very barely going to use this. Oh, the pause quit. You know that's a tough loss, Tempo.
Very, very tough.
GG. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is a best of 5, and continuing forward, no vetoes have been used yet. Spawning here to the upper right hand side of the map, we do have the red Protoss DnS.
And in the bottom left hand corner, up by 1, it is our Korean Zerg player Solar.
I think what I really enjoyed about game 1, regardless of who you were rooting for out there, dear audience, was I thought that was actually pretty well played out of both. Even though DnS lost, like the recall maneuver was sick. It was a hard call whether you overcommit or not towards the attack. There's a lot of decisions that were going to be very difficult to make in that game. And I feel like he didn't make a lot of wrong decisions, but he did make enough that it cost him a loss.
Yeah. I mean, even like in the early game, remember Solar counterattacking and the 5 Adepts chilling? Like, there was never a point where DnS was really just open or weak. It just seemed like, you know, the way the game played out, and it is what it is. So,
well, what I really enjoy too, knowing these players as I do, we're not going to see, I think, desperation come into this best of 5. I really don't think DnS down 0-2 is going to feel the need to put a 3-gate proxy down or something. I think we should ideally have straightforward play for the most part, but I wouldn't hate to see that change up.
Even like just for the sake of, you know, the best of 5, throwing that curveball can be so annoying for your opponent, especially when you're up. You know, I feel like you see it more when they're up, but the desperation thing is also a factor too, where it's like, well, I lost 2 games in the macro, so I guess I might as well, you know, I'll do a cannon rush or this or that. But yeah, I know exactly where you're coming from.
I've really been enjoying, and I hate to say this, it hurts me to say this, I've really been enjoying PvP recently. Not for the actual PvP, but the mind games there have been so much like more frequent and more intense than any other matchup in the game right now. Like even just from the start of the game, the second pylon, where does it go?
Yeah, little things like that. The first unit that comes out of the gateway, right? Like there's so many different kind of tiny things that you need to pay attention to.
And so I bring this up in part because of the way DnS is building in this game. His low ground pylon is obviously going to be a potential weakness here in the front. If Solar had done an early pool, then this might actually be the end of the game type thing.
It might have been an issue, yeah.
But he goes for a Stargate, and rather than putting it in the main, he puts it in the corner of his natural that is a lot less likely to get scouted by this Overlord. Like, the Overlord's more likely to see the entire main base than this corner of the natural. So it's not that this is a sneaky Stargate, but this is one that's not going to get scouted, I don't think.
It's a smart Stargate. Like, as a Zerg player, usually
all like you... Siri? Like, hey, Stargate! Build a Phoenix!
The thing about it, as a Zerg player, usually all you're doing is looking for the gas, and then you want to see what the tech is, right? So if you go in and, you know, you see it with your Overlord, like the top gas, you're not going to go in much deeper than that unless you're going to go right into the main. Like, you're not going to the back of the mineral line. That's usually not the path.
Yo, I can't say it about Eternal Empire because it's from last season's map pool, but it's been very interesting to me to watch the new maps where they've placed that sort of safety pillar further back. It's been making scouting a lot more difficult for Zerg.
And I mean, even as a Zerg player, I don't mind that, right? I almost feel like it's kind of a cheat. Like
I know,
a
right?
little hack.
Dude, they really gave it to Zerg this patch. The maps put the Overlord safety spot back. They nerfed Queen range. You guys got Microbial Shroud for no reason. Like, I just feel bad.
Like, oh yeah, because everybody used that ability. Yeah, you know. I'm so happy that we got that.
It is, in my opinion, actually a nerf that they gave Microbial Shroud to everybody without needing research, because all it does is increase the chance it gets fat fingered by somebody. Whereas before, you literally couldn't cast it, so you wouldn't worry about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw my first ever Microbial Shroud, not in a pro game, but in Direct Strike. And I was like, what is this ability on the ground right now? I have no clue what this is.
Well, you know what, though? Not for nothing. Microbial Shroud is good against, like, carriers if you're going, like, Hydras, I would say.
No, so this is where I'm jaded about it, right? Because you think, okay, you know what? The opponent's got carriers. I'm gonna clump up in this cloud real
But
tight.
if they have storm,
yeah, then they just storm you. It's like you're setting up. It's like painting a target on the ground.
I know. But
I don't know
at my level,
doing,
sometimes. Yo, this is interesting, Rifkin. We're looking at a double Stargate.
Oh,
and
wow.
also a fleet beacon.
Yes.
So
okay. So
DNS.
Yeah, I talked a little bit about this last night. Sorry, I got caught up in the conversation and I missed the mark on this one. But he did double Phoenix. He's really good at hiding this build too. And I think this goes hand in hand with where he placed a lot of this. Because again, for Solar, if another Overseer comes to the base, it's likely scouting around the third and the main, not the corner of the natural. So DnS should, in my opinion, get away with this for some time. But wait, it's not Phoenix. He's actually rushing a carrier.
Wait a minute. And you know what's crazy about this? The third base is
it's
a little bit later, but it's obviously. But I'm saying that the fact that he's taking the third base at a pretty normal time, right?
Right.
There was no aggression, but
that's what's so important about this. Everything Solar has seen so far does not look like this is going to be an abnormal build that will be strange and needs to be prepared for, especially. But he does need to, because carriers are objectively not great units. But if you don't have anything to respond to them properly with, they will absolutely f you up.
Like you're dead, yeah. And even if you don't die straight up, the scrambling that you do as a Zerg player is just, it's the worst feeling to get surprise carriers, man.
It is going to be Hydras. Okay, so he's got this coming up. Hydras, I think, are fine because their tech path is either anti-air units or they lead to lurkers, which are just godly in the late game, right?
Yeah.
But even just a few Hydras early like this might not be enough.
That's what I mean. And it depends how many he actually makes too. So you get Hydras, you know, you either pick if you're gonna go for your Spire or your Hydras, or you're gonna rush the Hive. Hydras, I think, are all right, but it depends on when the carriers are gonna be revealed. So
right. If you bank
out with these, it's kind of.
I think you go with 2 to 4, and then you just rally. But
I think 4. 4 is like a little bit better because like it's harder to react to.
Well,
but
the key,
2, no, that's it.
The key thing is similar to Battlecruiser timing. You want to get over there and catch the Hydras before they have a chance to cluster up. You want to be grabbing them as they're spawning or fighting them 1 or 2 at a time. So that's why sometimes going with 2 is better than going with 4, because you'll catch them before they get to reach that critical mass. This Overseer, by the way, scouts the main, has finally seen the fleet beacon, but not the second Stargate. And up to this point, no information about the carriers have been revealed.
Oh, man. Yeah, Solo's going to get really surprised here.
Okay.
But he's moving the Spore Crawler, so he knows what's happening.
He knows something with air's happening.
Yeah, I think he's going to be fine. Solo should be good here. He might lose a few drones, but he moved this Spore Crawler. He has a decent amount of Hydras.
He's target fighting the drones, too.
This is so yeah, that's so smart. So good, so good.
Now, to be clear for everyone watching, carriers are really not the end-all be-all. Even in the late game versus Zerg, it's the Archons and it's the Templar underneath them that make them really good. Carriers are okay. Without Graviton Catapult in the game anymore, their DPS is good once they get going, but it doesn't have the burst that it used to.
It does not.
To be clear,
but look at what's happening here.
Is not going to stop 4 carriers.
No, and we have 4 carriers coming through to the natural base of DnS, or rather of Solar. But in the background, we have Charge getting researched. We have Templar Archive, so he's going to be transitioning into a ground army. So if Solar overcommits to dealing with the carriers and goes like Spire for Corruptors or something like that, he's going to be in a bit of trouble here because I believe the Charge Lot Archon army is going to reign supreme.
This trade is great
on how
too.
Solar reacts.
The Hydras are killing the Interceptors and thus killing the DPS potential of the carriers. Okay, fine. But these are trading mineral-based things like Interceptors for gas-costing Hydras. Every way possible, that's a good trade for DnS. The major downside, though, Solar's reacted to this so quickly. He got the Rich Vespin Geyser on this base. He had a Spire coming down before the attack even hit. And Corruptors are now coming out. And Corruptors are going to kill these carriers. In fact, if DnS doesn't recall soon, these are probably going to die.
But he should know that like there's going to be a reaction coming through. Perhaps he thinks that the Hydras are going to be Solar's reaction, but once those Corruptors come, I think we will see the recall. Ready? Here it comes.
Yeah, you should save them, but only very barely. Look at 4 HP, and the last shot gets juked. 4 HP. Oh my god.
Like that. And now Solar has like 12 Corruptors, and it's like, wow, good for you, buddy, right? But I think in the main fight, they will come into play. And you know what? These Corruptors can go and pee on some buildings. They could definitely do something.
They will struggle to pee on buildings, though, because we have Void Rays coming out.
Oh, okay.
Not to mention,
so we are gonna.
You know what I wonder? Oh my god, can the new Photon Overcharge actually out heal the Corruptor Caustic Spray? Because I know Shield Battery can't normally.
Oh.
Oh, some storms softening these up, but they dive on top of the carriers. You don't want to storm your own units. Falls back a little bit. There's the photon overcharge right there. This carrier's never gonna die for 14 seconds.
And there come the Archons. I was wondering because he did have Archons before, but no, I lied. I guess those are the only ones. We saw some storms go down, and now Solar knows that it is going to be a ground army for the most part, and does not need to overcommit to say the more corruptors.
Oh god!
And here comes some. Yeah, oh boy.
This is exactly what I was talking about before, though. The strength is really not the carriers. It is the storms. It is the Archons. DNS has an okay-looking army, but this is terrifying to fight against because it's just swarms of units from Solar. And if he doesn't land every one of these storms, he can't afford to miss a single storm. He's got to hit the Banelings. He's got to hit the Hydras. Solar's army gets crushed really quick and has to back away.
Yeah, but you know what? At the end of the day, Solar's economy is pretty rocking right now. We're looking at a 5 base Zerg that also has a press beam. So
yeah,
even if he didn't do anything, yeah.
But there's a Zealot run by on the other side of the map. The Warp Prism down here is going to scoop some of these up and transfer them over. Corruptors will kill the Warp Prism for sure. Oh, they don't unload. But I mean, yeah, Incograph is killing it for Solar, for sure. But we're kind of in that weird spot where it's energy versus money, right? Solar's going to have a lot of money to throw at DNS. And if ideally DNS lands like every storm and he doesn't lose too many Archons in each of these fights, it'll be very similar to watching Terran. You just play super cost efficient, or you try to, at least. DNS needs this 4th base. Losing it earlier, we didn't really remark on, but that was very painful for him. That said,
it really was, because it allowed Solar to get that 5th base and get even more ahead. Who is also on Hive, getting Vipers. He's working on his ground upgrades as well. Oh, so we're gonna see that Hydra Bane.
This is another element of the patch we might get to see. They gave Templar 1 extra range for feedback.
Oh, okay.
So I think it'll be a lot harder to land abducts if you're getting feedbacked before you even get in range. Oh, Banelings managed to hit the right side too while this goes on. Coming in, does not saving these probes. Rest in peace, boys. +2 weapons is a 1-shot on a probe.
That is so terrifying, right? That mineral line, 24 probes go down just like that. Corruptors are going to actually prove the work of theirs.
Overcharge is busted, dude. It is busted, dude.
What? Yo, that's crazy. Okay, then.
Now, look, okay, we're memeing a little bit. This has been a great example of a way to use the photon overcharge. It is obviously not going to single-handedly save DNS in this game, but it has changed how these units are interacting. I mean, 3 or 4 carriers should have died already, but the overcharge has saved them. I think it's the same shield battery too, multiple times.
If only you can see how many lives has that shield battery saved. You know how there's like a kill count?
I wish there was like a DP, like, you know, World War, they have like DPS meters and healing meters. I wish there was some of that in StarCraft sometimes. But yeah, Solar's army is massive. His bank grows, and his map control, he's got like 50% of the map under his control right now. He's moving on towards things like Infestors. A second Spire is not a misclick. This is for upgrades. He's just macroing the crap out of this game right now.
It really is, right? Not even just in the base department, but just the fact that he's going into his tech. The Broodlords are coming out. He has Neuroparasite on the way. He already has Pathogen as well. And you notice that he got Burrow, so he's definitely going to incorporate those Infestors to maybe deal with the Mothership, you know, any other big units like the carriers, even Archons. You know, it's one of those units that can really turn the tide of a battle.
And on that note in particular, I want to remind everybody of one of the bigger patch notes where they took down some of the Baneling damage versus non-light units. They were given more bonus versus light to compensate, but they do less damage versus non-light units now. So Archons are going to take significantly more Banelings to kill them. Granted, he's got enough Banelings. I'm just saying this is going to be a lot more difficult than it has been in the past.
And DNS, you know what? He's maxed out, right? We had that situation where, all right, the carriers kind of got dealt with, but we're at that maxed army supply, and
yeah.
Solar's economy is great. Can he actually deal with this army? He has Broodlords, he has Corruptors, he has Infestors, but they don't have Neuro just yet.
So again, same thing with the Infestors, same thing with the Viper. That feedback range is going to be massive in protecting these units. Another Baneling hit over here is pretty good, but yeah, there's not going to be fungal growths if you feedback the Infestor. There's not going to be abducts if you feedback the Viper. I think DNS has the power to really control this late game, but it's still new. It's less than a week old. We don't know if he's even... Some pros don't even know about the patches notes. They just keep playing. Like, he clearly knows about the overcharge. He's used it now, but he didn't in game 1, which had me a little concerned. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and assume he knows about the new feedback range.
And look at how much energy those Templar have. I believe getting burrow is going to protect the infestors, which is great. But it's all about the quick fingers. You know, once you unburrow the infestors, there's a little delay, and the feedback can happen during that delay before you can cast fungal or neural. So you can neural from the ground, but you cannot fungal or microbial shroud from the ground. So,
you know, on this topic, one thing that worries me a little bit, DnS doesn't exactly have a bunch of observers spread all over the map. In fact, I'm looking at his vision. He has literally one with the army. So it's going to be difficult to first see the enemy coming from far away, but secondly, have detection to catch some of the burrowed units.
He lost his oracles, right, earlier during that third attack. So
yeah. Oh, for people
oracles
asking,
would be really
sorry, just real quick, we keep talking about the feedback. They gave it +1 range in the patch, is what it is. So it's, I believe, 9 range now or something like that.
All right, good little run by here. These are adrenal lings, so
yeah, but look at the shield battery overcharge, dude.
Oh my god, are you kidding me? What?
It's adrenal gland lings +2 against no armor zealots. Shield batteries are so good, dude.
What? Okay. So yeah, Solar's rich, but damn, yeah, seeing that in action is kind of.
But the thing is, it is a 1 minute cooldown. It can only be used on 1 shield battery. So if you see this happen, what we've seen is like with players like Clem, they just target the shield battery. So it is just changing the interactions a bit, and if you don't handle the shield battery, you're going to lose stupidly to it. I think actually, okay, there's the abducts, there's the feedbacks too. One thing I'm really worried about though, I hadn't really considered this till just now. Upgrades for DnS are kind of low. Like he's finishing +2 now.
Yeah, this is actually really low. But keep in mind that he did go for +1 air in the beginning of the game, so he delayed his ground upgrades. Ooh. Well, alrighty then.
You know, the mistake storming his own units, that happens.
It does happen. Yep, I love it when it does. But
I bet you every Protoss player wishes they'd give the co-op buff, because in co-op, if Artanis storms his Archons, he heals the shields.
Yeah, imagine that. Oh my god. I do like this play by DnS though, getting the Dark Shrine at this stage of the game.
Yep.
Things get really hectic, and it's hard to manage a lot of your bases. So if he can get these T's out and start to really push and clear this creep out,
it's also going to help a lot with the cost efficiency for Archon ratio, because gas right now is abundant, but gas is going to become limited, and it's going to be a lot more effective to build GTs into Archons than High Templar into Archons.
I'm surprised.
Oh wow, like, look at this. I didn't even see him build the static defense. Solar is turtled the fuck up, dude.
He's playing around right now, and I think this is something that others kind of at least overlook. I myself do it too, but static defense, it really gives you that opportunity to kind of like be in your own zone, and it's like, come at me, and it's at a disadvantage.
Oh no, these Templar. Where's the warp prism to keep these safe, right? Like, oh, here comes the fungals.
Oh my god. Oh, no.
The stasis wrap. Okay, this forces Solar to withdraw. Sorry, for those who don't understand how these new bubbles work, they buffed this a long time ago, but it's still pretty, like, whatever of an ability. But in those circles, it's not just movement speed is slowed, but attack speed is slowed too. So for that reason, Solar could not continue that engagement despite pouncing on the Templar and getting that fungal growth. That was a very quick reaction out of DnS, and to that I say kudos.
Kudos, my dude. Kudos. And also, we saw the feedback on the Overseers, and then he also killed them and targeted them. But there was one that was remaining, and also fungal growth will reveal for a short period of time. Ooh. But I saw the target fire, and DnS definitely knows how to do these engagements.
This Warp Prism's a little low, but 2 Archons are going to make it over here.
All right,
this is a problem. So the thing with both players right now is, as we reach this late game for PvZ, they have these incredibly powerful units, but they're all incredibly slow. So responding to each other is more difficult now than it is in the early game when you've got Lings and Zealots running all over the map. Yeah. But I am a little scared. These are a lot of Corruptors, and at 21, this looks terrifying, but I need to remind everybody that if they bunch up as they do, it takes 1 Storm and 2 Archon shots, and they're done for.
I'm actually very impressed by DnS right now, because we saw him at 3 bases. Look at how many bases he's taking now, right?
Right, he got to the late game.
Really expanding. Yeah. And he didn't stick on that 3 to 4 bases, no. He decided, you know what, I'm going to distract you with a couple of these Warp Prism drops and a little bit of pushes down the middle of the map. But during it, he actually started taking 1, 2, 3 more bases.
Look at this cheeky Jones. Get out of here. Go, get out of here. Go on, get. Yeah. Yeah.
Get off my lawn.
Okay, we got more Stargates coming into production right now. Both players have a fair bit of bank, but oh god. The clustering of those Broodlords, the clustering of this Protoss army, there's fungals, there's storms, there's parasitic bombs to worry about. There's a million things here that can go wrong for both players. The mothership gets abducted and she does fall. The carriers are slowed upon retreat. Where are those Archons? They need to get out of this army. They've been blown up by the Broodlords.
Oh, but there are DTs in the middle of this where there's an Overseer, so that's not going to be a factor.
It's 10 carriers to 15 Corruptors. If he can kill the Corruptors, he will dominate everything that's left on the field. But as you see, guys, Corruptors are destroying the carriers. They are built to deal with carriers. They have bonus damage specifically against carriers.
Wait for it, though. I think the Interceptors will be able to kill the remainder of those Corruptors, but nice Zealot
so
run
much
box.
of this is on air units. 15 Corruptors, 10 Infestors. There's actually nothing that can stop these Zealots. Well, the Broodlords. The Broodlords. But I mean, nothing on the ground that can stop them.
It means that he had to go back. And the carriers are starting to kill the drones here at this base as well.
He just sniped the Infestor. He's targeting down these high priority units. This is really good play out of DnS, all things considered.
And you know what? Look at the banks too, right?
Gone. Exhausted.
It looks like he's up in supply, clearly, but he pretty much drained his whole bank to do that.
Yeah, but he still
You know what
has...
I mean? Like, he had like 1,000 before.
He still has a powerful army, though, right? Like, he didn't lose the Broodlords through that engagement. He lost the Corruptors, but the Broodlords still push forward. So, yeah, he exhausts the bank, but he's got a goddamn good-looking army.
Deal with this? Can DnS actually deal with how many Broodlords, Rifkin?
Well, we got Tempest coming out, which will help a bit. The Corruptors are still the biggest problem here. I think at this point, we're kind of facing the reality base trading might be a better option for DnS than fighting directly. The Corruptors are gonna camp. Oh, the Corruptors are gonna camp the Stargates. That's such a dick move.
Yeah, there's no way these carriers are gonna do anything. The Void Rays might be a little bit too late to the party, and it seems like Solar has busted through. However, on the other side, the Zealots are just ravaging the mineral lines of Solar.
Yeah, but here come those Void Rays. Prismatic alignment hits hard, and those Corruptors are forced to disengage. However, between neural parasites, oh god, the carriers are got storms laying on top of the army, though. Oh, it's stormy weather tempo.
Oh, body with a chance to side storms, and I don't know if it's gonna be enough. That's a lot of Void Rays, Rifkin.
God, he can't deal. He can't see the Infestors. He doesn't have detection. That's why this is. Oh no!
Oh my god,
he's just stuck with the neurals. He can't deal with the neurals. He doesn't have detection.
It's crazy.
But
no!
You know what? He's losing bases.
What? Oh my god, DnS!
I was gonna say he was winning the battle at the end. Once the neurals wear off, there was Corruptors and no gas left for Solar to reinforce with. That tap out looks a little crazy, guys, but GG DnS.
That was awesome. What a game.
Stormy fucking weather, my guy. Folks, if you're down for this wild ride, I hope you're enjoying this tournament. This tournament was made with the goal of raising some charity and helping some people in the United States. We've raised over $5,000. In fact, we're at 5,470 at current count, which is just fantastic. But of course, we are going to try to squeeze a little more. So if you guys have a couple of dollars available, this charity is for COVID-19 relief in the United States. If you type !donate in, oh, he's up to no, we should watch this. !donate in the chat, you'll be given a link. We're gonna be given 2 links. The first link is for the Tiltify one, and this is general COVID-19 relief via United Way. The second one is directly for Minneapolis. I donated $1,000 there, and I hope you guys would consider joining me for that one. That is for, again, COVID-19 relief, but specifically Minneapolis. I picked this one because, of course, recent events. But yeah, we've done a great job, and Tempo and I, we made a pseudo goal here. I don't expect to meet this today, but if we raise $7,000, Tempo and I will work together to create a unit rap battle for y'all.
It's gonna happen. It's long overdue, and we need to do it. It needs to happen.
You know what I think we need to do after this series is done? I think we need to play some of the stuff we've worked on together before, like Abyssal Reef and the big one.
We can even kind of fit it in for, you know, downtime if need be.
Well, we can make some room for it, my friend. But yeah, so !donate in the chat, and just to be clear, guys, those are for charity. I don't touch the money. It doesn't go through me at all, so you get to write it off on your taxes at the end of the year too, which is nice. Well, end of the quarter. But the point is, help some people out. $5, $20. There's some rewards on the side you guys can grab if you want me to replay cast or do some bad art. Check it all out. Again, it's !donate to get it going.
So very similar opening to what we've seen earlier. DnS being annoying with the probe. Solar saying, I don't really care. I'm just going to go take that other base. And business as usual.
A lot of Zerg players do this, and I think this is perfectly fine because most builds, all in or otherwise, have a third hatchery. So he's just cutting out the middleman of wasting time here. And I can get down with that too, because this is a pretty nice to access base. It's not like his third is putting him really out of the way.
No. And the good part is that it lets your creep spreads start a lot earlier. But the main thing would be if DNS were to take advantage of it with some kind of an aggression at this point, or at least in the next minute or so. But it seems like he's going to be going for Stargate.
It's a safe way to play.
I don't think that... Yeah, it's very safe, very safe.
I really liked what happened last game, by the way. Not
Dude,
because of the Stargate opener, not because of the carriers, but like that late game just had straight up good play out of both. Like, for example, Solar, after we got out of game, guys, was complaining about not being able to micro due to the ping, and that's fair. That's not complaining. That's just like a fair complaint to make. But even so, like, he had neural parasites when DNS had no detection. DNS weathered the storm literally and metaphysically or metaphorically and survived to the point where Solar taps out because he had no gas. Like, that was such an intense finish. I don't know how these guys can just reset and play another game. I would be fucking sweaty after that, dude.
Me too. And the best part about it is that it ties up the series too, right? So nobody is having kind of advantage, and I think that's why we're seeing this kind of normalcy where it's like, okay, you know, well, 3 bases or 2 base protons, chilling, Stargate open.
It's particularly good for the fans, obviously, but also really good for future because it gives him more time to finish his other tournament and not risk disqualification here.
Yeah, but you make a good point though, right? Like, as far as how that game ended, a lot of people might have been like, oh my god, why would he leave with like 100 plus supply? It's just like the interaction, and like, you know, it's like a checkmate almost.
I also firmly believe there was probably a little bit of tilt with that too, and that goes back to the complaint about the ping.
I think yeah, it would have been mixed there, but I know what you mean.
Oh, dude, this is a particular homie that you and I both know. Terminator, thank you for the tier 3 resub. 53 months. We can't bust heads like we used to, but we have our ways. One trick to tell them stories that don't go anywhere. Like the time I caught the ferry over to Shelbyville. I needed a new heel for my shoe, so I decided to go to Morganville, which is... Okay, I'm not going to read the whole copy paste today. But thank you. It's good to see you, man. Do you remember...
Oracle did go down. But he got 5 kills. That's always cool.
Do you remember when we were in Toronto doing that event?
The Omen one?
Yeah, it was like in the middle of the square, that like town square thing.
Yep. Yeah, HP Omen side event.
Something like that. Yeah. Therm was there, Juggernaut Jason, Sal was there, you were there. I just remember we were vlogging a little bit, and oh, was it you? You told someone you were born white and turned black or something over time. Like,
albino.
Yeah, you were born albinos. Yeah, that's what you said. Yeah. Oh, it's good times. Good to see you, Therm. Thanks for stopping by, man. Thank you for the resub.
Yeah. Okay, so this is different. We actually have a Resonating Glaives opener coming out of DNS, and this is off of a Stargate opener, so...
But this is really perplexing because normally this isn't that committed. It's like 8 Adepts with a Warp Prism, and it's not that all in because of the lack of gateways. DNS actually crafted this in a very specific way I've never quite cast yet, where he emphasized Adept production before even getting the Robo. So he has more Adepts, but what he lacks here is the Warp Prism to keep them safe or reinforce with. So this is everything he has on the field pushing forward. I'm kind of worried this will have the same effect, the same end result of what the all-in where it fails and then the Roaches counterattack and Solar wins.
What I'm a little bit worried about is the amount of lings that Solar did make. I guess he does have a decent amount of Roaches already, but he had the gas to make more Roaches to deal with the Adepts, and maybe he just is very, very comfortable. Obviously, Solar being such a baller that he is, but Adepts are pretty good against lings, but especially with Resonating Glaives. And it seems like he's getting pushed back, which is...
Nice trap. Nice trap.
I was wondering, yeah. I guess Solar was really comfortable here. Because I freak out. When I see the orange balls come out of the Adept's hands, I'm like, oh, no. You know, and I just freak out. But Solar
like, I'll just start saying goodbye to my drones now real quick.
Yeah, I've already, like, you know, looked at the will. I'm just like...
I really like the way Protest has evolved in this way, though, because every time you saw Resonating Glaives, I'm thinking Neve especially, it was all in. Every time. No variation whatsoever. Now it's like an opener, and I'm so down for this because it's like the Maru mentality, right? Maru goes for a 2 racks proxy, not to go all in, but to open with. And I feel like that's what the Resonating Glaives is.
You can see that here with DNS taking the third base as well. It is a bit later, so that does worry me because Solar didn't really lose too many drones during that. So
I don't think he lost like any, did he? Oh, it was 5 total. Sorry, my bad.
Those are from the Oracles, though.
True, true.
So well, it's like one of those things. Like, well, did that really do much?
We'll see if the pacing hurts or not. Because the thing is, right now, it's not like Solar's rushing to a Spire or anything. Like, this is really basic with Roaches and Ravagers. But the fear is, of course, Roaches and Ravagers stack up quickly, and that's why the army supply looks really overwhelming right now.
I have a max out before the 10-minute mark. And Solar, he might just brute force his way in. Yes, we do have Void Rage for DNS, but how much damage will be done on the ground before those Void Rage and Oracles can actually deal?
I'm jaded because you have Queens coming, you got Ravagers coming. I feel like for DNS, first off, the Photon Overcharge is going to be key. Whether it's used well or not, it's going to be necessary to even have a chance to hold this. But if Solar doesn't handle it like he didn't last game, it may just keep DNS alive for way too long. Pop it. Pop it. Oh, he doesn't have the energy. He doesn't have the energy. Oh, there we go. He pops it now. Overcharging everything he can. Oh, takes care of the shield battery. That's it. Quick death. GG.
And oh gosh. Wow.
But so this still had the same effect of what I was worried about. It just happened at a bit of a different pacing. Because if you go for an all-in with Adepts, this happens. And while this wasn't the typical all-in, as cool as this build order was, it didn't work because of what Solar was doing.
Yeah, Solar, he dealt with it incredibly well. And the fact that he didn't overreact to it either, like he had the units there, and the fact that there was no economic damage done, it makes DNS kind of be like, oh crap, well, I guess I'll, have this third base a little bit later, but I'm supposed to get damage done here to equalize. That's the whole point.
More than anything else, let's hop into the game. It's map number 4 and it's match point. This means DNS is on his last life. Can't make any more mistakes going forward. So to the bottom left, fighting for his life, the Red Protoss from France, DNS.
And in the top right, sitting comfortably with the 2-1 lead, it is going to be our Blue Zerg player from Korea, Solar.
Now DNS might be down in the series, but mistakes happen. That's why pencils have erasers.
True.
And I'm hoping he can recover. Truthfully, I believe he can. The game 2 convinced me that this guy is still playing strong, but of course, again, for anyone who's unfamiliar, I know I have a couple friends tuning in right now who don't normally watch StarCraft, but to be clear, Solar is like a heavily favored player being a strong Korean, but everything I know about DNS from covering a lot of his games over the last year and a half, I know he's got what it takes to beat Solar. Even if he doesn't do it today, I still have faith that he could.
Yeah, and you saw that just in the series already. You mentioned game 2, but we bring it back to game 1 where it was very even. It's just, one person has to win at the end, right? So,
well, what's frustrating about it is because these guys are such a high tier, a high caliber player, when they win, it looks big, like way bigger than it should. Like nobody at this level of play is winning by like 1 unit at the nth minute of the game type thing. Man. So unfortunately, while DNS got his ass beaten raw in game 3, that's kind of the exception, to be real.
I think it was an unfortunate circumstance where Solar was like super prepared, and he kind of just used that advantage. And you know what? You only have that timing right there, because if DNS secures this, gets shield batteries, and is able to secure his robo units, he's going to be good. Well,
there's also the other flip side of this, right? If Solar hadn't scouted correctly and he had rushed to Aspire, he wouldn't have had the Roaches to defend. If he had played greedy with drones, he wouldn't have had the army units out. So, like, to be clear, I don't actually dislike what DNS did in that last game. It just didn't work in that game.
I feel like, yeah, if DNS did what he did in game number 1, or rather, if Solar did what he did in game number 1 and DNS did what he did in game number 4 or 3, I feel like Solar would have died.
Yeah, so again, it's one of those things where it didn't work. It looks really bad, but I like the idea because based off of what Solar's doing, it was an educated guess of a thing to do. Regardless, though, for this game, not really a lot changing up. It is the Twilight Council again, and he may still go with Resonating Glaives because the reason I bring this up is because I point out I didn't hate it, but I mean, there's also the classic Twilight Council Dark Shrine Robo combo, which is more likely to happen on a map like Everdream, I feel.
Yeah, with the Stalker first and the Robo timing, it does seem like it would be.
Oh yeah, there's the Robo.
DT open.
Nice.
So I believe we should see it.
It still could be Resonating Glaives though, and I say this because, of course, the more conventional way to do it is to get the Warp Prism to pair with this.
Ooh, look at that!
Yeah,
You're right, Rifkin.
so I love the old school Zest ways to play this with the Archons, but at the same time, this is a style that works. It doesn't work so cleanly as what we just saw, but it does work. The key difference of what we saw last game though and this game, because some of you out there I know are like, oh, he's doing this again, he just lost with this, what an idiot. But the difference is the Robo, and it makes the world of difference, because while maybe he had an extra 7 adepts that he wouldn't normally have in that last game, this time he'll have the Warp Prism, which is worth so much more. It's going to warping units on the front line. It can pick up units. It can drop them off in the main from a million yards away because reasons. Like, it's just
because,
so good.
But remember, it was also a Stargate opener before, so it was a delayed Resonating Glaive attack.
That's true. That's
so
true.
This one is going to hit so early. And if Solar does not have... Dude, he just started his Roach Warren. Dude, this is going to be a tough...
You know my favorite thing about the Warp Prism 5 pickup ranges? It doesn't cost any gas to make this happen.
Well, it's all minerals.
Can you believe that? If I were to tell you there was a unit in StarCraft 2 that could give every unit it has nearby essentially a blink ability, would you believe that that didn't cost gas?
I wouldn't believe you for a second until I saw it in action, and that's what we're going to be seeing here.
Well, now for the low payment of 200 minerals, Tempo.
Low.
It's a one-time payment.
Today. No credit required.
Low credit, bad credit, no problem.
And okay, so this is very scary for Solar, but the Queens are going to hold it down. I mean, he does have a decent amount of lings here. So if DNS dances around for too long, the Roaches will pop
get
out.
In the mineral line. Just get into the mineral line.
Man. Because you need to do something here, right? When the Roaches come, then all of a sudden the Adepts are kind of meh. So he's given Solar enough time to actually react, I believe.
Yeah, being able to volley down these Queens in almost 2 shots is big. Transfuses keep them alive a lot longer than they should. Roach is getting targeted too. He fakes out the transfer, so the Lings are out of position. Now withdrawing, DNS doesn't end up losing his Adepts. This is big because the reason the counterattack works after a player goes Resonating Glaives is because they just don't have units left over to defend at home. If he can keep this busy long enough to build 3 Immortals and have sentries, that's fine. But right now he's not there, and if he loses all of these, even if he were to slaughter 20 drones, it wouldn't be worth it. So he has to play fairly conservative, and that's why you see him doing these kind of weird hit and run tactics. I love the Stalker warping though, because the reason Solar's playing around this so perfectly is the Overlord's just giving him map packs. You can see perfectly what's going on.
That one Stalker is going to be pretty key. It's going to make Solar a little bit more uncomfortable, but I feel like Solar should have enough to defend here. And he's going to get a counter attack. Are you kidding me?
Oh, the force fields are late.
All right. That was what, 2 sentries?
Yeah, that shouldn't have been any if you think about it. That was just DNS, of course, looking over here while Solar went over there. It's the Kansas City shuffle. Classic Kansas City shuffle.
Oh, man. DNS is not having a lot of luck with Resonating Glaive attacks. But look at the worker count, 50 to 50. Solar is definitely scared.
Well, he had to make a lot of army units in preparation for the Adepts, so he was forced to cut workers just to play the game. But these Resonating Glaives units are stuck behind the Immortal. It's so unfortunate. Where's the Warp Prism? It's not here in time. Loses the first Immortal. Second one's got to get scooped up to safety. DNS with the last second grab keeps it alive.
Yes, and he's going to try to hold here. No shield battery.
Well, they're finishing up. They're finishing up. He's not going to break this.
The third? If he loses the 3rd base, that's even worse. Because being stuck with 2 bases, now Solo only has to worry about that. So DNS, he is going to move out from that, or rather from the shield.
But Solar faces a precarious situation where if he loses everything here, DNS could be the one to counterattack and punish him for it. So while getting this 3rd is big, Solar keeps a lot of his army alive, and that's way more valuable to me.
Oh, that really sucks, though, that the 3rd base is going down. Because I'm going to tell you right now, it's more so about like what you need to prepare for as a Zerg, right? You try to cut corners as best as you can. If you know you've killed the Protoss' 3rd base, you know that he's kind of in desperation mode. So you just chill. Defend whatever they're going to throw at you.
I love to watch a good juggle. Not mimes, though. Fuck mimes. But jugglers? Yeah. Look at this. Picks off like 4 or 5 of the Roaches. That was really nice. Drop Overlord down to the side. Oh, no.
It's a slow board too.
Oh, it's slow. Yeah, it looks agonizing, but there's nothing here. Okay, wait,
there to
somebody's
see
coming
it.
over. Okay, he's chasing. Thank God he's here to chase off the overseer, so the army units are here. So, for those who don't know, by the way, if you ever need to visually identify a drop overlord, yes, it's got these big fatty puffy sacks on the side, but what you might not realize is Blizzard gave it a penis for no reason. And I'm not kidding. You see that little dangly thing? Guess what, guys? That's not under the normal overlord. They only get that weird dangling participant. That's a drop overlord. I think you're supposed to grab onto it, Tempo.
That's what links come out of, though.
I think for $50 you can grab onto it.
That'd be pretty fun, man. If I had an overload like that, I'll swing from that. Just fly through the air.
You coming like a wrecking ball. Can someone edit that? Just like, like Miley Cyrus underneath.
Oh my god. So down goes the overload, but Solar, we're going to see something similar to last game, where he deals with the aggression from DNS and then tries to counterattack. Except this time he has Banelings with it, and that's going to be a little bit scary.
But there's a lot of extra shield batteries to help with this, though. Last time there was barely any. This will help a ton, but not against the Banelings.
Force fields.
Missing one. Okay, gets into the middle. Goes for the Ravagers, breaks it free, most force fields. DnS is on the ball with this, but so is Solar, breaks the other force fields. Bailey's starting to get through, scooping up the units in the Warp Prism, brings it back down to 4 Immortals. 4 Immortals, it's gonna take a god to hold this.
Yeah, seems like it's gonna be too much Zerg rolling through the natural base. He says, F your third base, G to the... Amazing. And that's going to be it for our first series, huh?
Yeah, Solar goes through to the grand finals. He'll wait to play against a Terran player. This means it's a, well, assuming Future's here, we'll check. It's a guaranteed TBC.